I'm Lizzie and welcome to my garden here at the Rose Press. It is middle of August and to be fair, the sweet peas have been romping away, and you can see the sweet peas in the back in the ground are still thriving. There's lots of gorgeous flowers, so I'm keeping cutting them, I'm keeping feeding them, and I want them to go as long as possible. However, the sweet peas in the pots have really come to their end. They are particularly this one is looking absolutely gross. I forgot to water them for a few weeks and they've all gone scraggly, they've dried out and just not looking their best, so they're ready to go. And by this time in the season, everything is kind of starting to go over. So there's a couple of sweet peas on here, but their stems are particularly short, and there's so many gorgeous ones and other things in the garden like your dahlias coming out now that it's time to say goodbye to the sweet peas. So there's two things that you can do. You can either leave them for as long as possible and keep and save the seed pods. Personally, not something that I do. They can cross-pollinate, they can not be the exact colour, and because I love my colour scheme in my garden, as you all know, I love to plant fresh sweet peas each year. So for me, I won't be keeping any of them, but if you want to, then definitely do. Make sure that you can wait until they look like they're received. Obviously this one's way too thin at the moment, so I would have left that for a lot longer, carrying on feeding it and watering it until that they've got all the seed pods. But if you're not doing that, then it's time to cut them down and to put them either in the compost bin or your garden waste bin. So for me, I'm going to put them in the compost bin because they're quite high in nitrogen. One of the things that I would do is, if you're taking them down from in the garden and you've got your twigs, is you can cut them at the base and leave the roots underneath, and that will, you know, break down, and it's a bit of a no-dig method. Or you can dig them up. Like obviously these are in pots, so you can just rip them out and go from there. And the benefit is that we planted all this twine, and that's what we use to create the structures and to keep them tied in, and that means that we can just compost all the twine as well. But if you've used plastic ties or metal ties, etc., or metal wire for them to grow up, then obviously you can't just rip it all out and compost it. So I definitely recommend, if you didn't do that this year, that when you're growing your sweet peas this year, that you make sure that you use twine, because it's so much easier when it comes to this stage. I've also in this pot used shell on earth, which is crushed whelk shells, which look beautiful when you top the pot, and it just sets the whole thing off. So I'm actually going to take some of this off and wash that so I can reuse it next year, and then I'll rip this out and compost all of the spent compost in here. And sweet peas are super hungry during the season, so that's why we continue to feed them, but this compost has been used, there's not going to be many nutrients in there. So what I tend to do is add it to my compost, and it just helps to create the texture in my compost bin for next year. And then now that it's coming to mid-August, I'm going to start to sow in the next couple of weeks. I'll start to sow all of my sweet peas for next year, so you can sow them in the autumn and you can sow them in spring, and I'll be doing another video so you can follow along with the autumn sowing of sweet peas. But if, like me, some of your sweet peas are looking really scraggly and really awful, I'm afraid to say now is the time that we say thank you and goodbye. So thank you for watching. If you've got any questions on how to pull down your sweet peas, then let me know. Thanks for watching.